Welcome back to the Resonant Live podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leila Doolittle, and I am so excited to be joined by Dr. Courtney Gowin in this episode. Dr. Courtney is a visionary chiropractor, author, and entrepreneur whose work is revolutionizing the landscape of prenatal, pediatric, and family wellness. As the founder of Free2Be Chiropractic in Addison, Texas, she has spent over a decade guiding thousands of women through empowered pregnancies with her signature blend of gentle, intuitive, and deeply aligned chiropractic care. With a profound reverence for the natural rhythms of the body, Dr. Gowin is a leading advocate for holistic birthing, intuitive healing, and the reclamation of feminine wisdom. Her book, The Barefoot Mama, is a soul-stirring guide that merges ancient birthing traditions with modern holistic practices, helping women reconnect with their bodies, and birth in full alignment with their highest expression. Expanding her mission beyond the clinic, she launched Barefoot Retreats, immersive wellness experiences set in sacred, high vibrational locations like Tulum, Cabo, Costa Rica, and Greece. These retreats are more than just getaways. They are portals for transformation, inviting women to rediscover their sovereignty, release limiting beliefs, and step into a new paradigm of health, intuition, and self-empowerment. Dr. Courtney's expertise in prenatal chiropractic. Dr. Courtney's expertise in prenatal chiropractic and perinatal wellness has led to her appointment as the sole chiropractor on an advisory board for the UT Southwestern Medical Center, focusing on bridging holistic and conventional medicine in the field of perinatal mental health. As a sought-after speaker, educator, and mentor, she shares her wisdom with chiropractors and students worldwide, igniting a movement of heart-centered consciousness healthcare. As a single mother of 3 daughters, Dr. Courtney intimately understands the journey of motherhood, resilience, and divine feminine leadership. She embodies the balance so many women seek, merging career, family, and purpose with grace. Her mission is to create a community of empowered mothers, healers, and birth keepers, helping women embrace their innate strength, trust their intuition, and birth their babies and their dreams with confidence, power, and ease. Welcome back to the Resonant Life podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Leila Doolittle, and today I'm joined by Dr. Courtney Gowin.
I'm so happy to be here.
Happy you're here. I've been looking forward to this conversation so much for years.
Mhm.
You are just traveling the world, living vivaciously, abundantly, and living most people's dreams. So I resonate with that so much. It's so important to just live expansively and do what you love.
Absolutely.
And every single day, just being in that amazing flow, that expansiveness without limitations. So
Absolutely.
you do it better than most people out there.
And it's so nice to have like a soul sister in that. I feel like we've kind of seen each other from afar, and I've just been like fangirling you for so long. So it's so fun to be here.
Oh, same here. Okay,
Yes.
so tell me a little bit about this mindset that led you to living this life of your dreams. And tell us a little bit about what this means, because I can definitely brag about this a lot from my side,
gosh,
but I'm sure it feels differently from your perspective, what that is like, and that story that led you to this.
Absolutely. And I think it's something we both resonate on, of an innate led life.
Yes.
And really coming into life through a lot of dark times.
Yes.
Like I think it's the pain, the trauma, like everything that was such a gift that was on the way and not in the way, that gave me this life and the ability to tap into that innate led life, where I just tapped into the voice on the inside.
Yeah.
Was like, what do I actually want? Like, what is like, does this align with me? Does it not? And I think it was through deep healing that allowed me to access that voice and to actually tap into what I wanted and what I needed for my life.
Yes.
And then it was funny, whenever you tapped into that, things just start happening.
Yes.
Doors start opening, and
They
like
do.
you just have a vision that you just like, I don't have goals I work for moments.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. So there's these key moments in my life that I put myself into, and I feel like every single moment of that moment, I'm like, that's the moment I want.
Right.
And so I have a moment in my relationship that I want, that I'm working for. I have a moment in business that I want, that I'm working for. And I feel that fully when I'm setting goals and like really kind of moving through this life of flow.
Yes.
And then I just is align with that moment. And if it does get me on that way, then it's for me. And if it doesn't align with that moment, it's not for me.
And don't be distracted and scattered with that. Don't waste your time.
Yes,
We
exactly.
So
you can't have fun on the way.
Yes.
But the big steps in life, do they align with that moment of that innate based connection, or do they not?
I love that. That is so beautiful. And what an amazing way that you're framing that too, with that feeling in that moment. Because with that, that's where like the quantum world will align with it further. So you're bringing in like a magnetism to you into your life, where you're feeling abundance of joy, you're feeling this freedom, this excitement, the love, and you're able to create more of these types of moments, because really our feelings, the way that they are so expansive to the universe, they'll put out that energy forward into that time.
It's like a radio, like a frequency that you put out, and if it aligns, then it comes right back in.
I love
it's
that.
Really beautiful, and it's crazy to see once you get to that point. And I think that goals are so left-brained.
They are.
Paper, pencil, write them down, things like that. But when you live for moments, then you start to tap into the quantum goal setting.
Exactly. And you just believe it. It draws you forward from a heart-centered approach. It just is so easy to wake up each day and just be so zealous about this.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's amazing. What an incredible message.
Aww.
Okay, and so what this looks like in Dr. Courtney's life, it's amazing. So she travels the world. She's created this incredible company called Wonder Learn Retreats, where you're helping to inspire other practitioners and just anyone who is ready to be empowered with learning, with knowledge, with curiosity.
Absolutely.
And they go to the most beautiful places around the world. And so I've been watching this. I'm going to definitely join one of these retreats soon.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's such a beautiful way to be in those moments, experiencing in a way that is so fulfilling and feelings.
Yes.
And then, of course, the knowledge and the learning and the what you're bringing in, the experience itself is transformational and creates a powerful shift in mindsets that then they're able to align with that deeper purpose, with those living for the moments. I love that. So tell us a little bit more about that and that development.
It was really interesting. Whenever you talk about healing, I went through a divorce, and it shattered the framework of everything I thought I wanted in my life, but it was at the same time the greatest gift. And so Wonder Learn was a birth and a child of the divorce, of me taking time, disrupting my natural rhythm of life, of being in Dallas. And I would take a weekend and go to Tulum. And I would sweat, yoga, move, like do all of these things. And I came back each time a better mother, a better healer, a better doctor, a better woman. And then there was so much healing from disrupting my rhythms. I said, I think other people need this. And I felt like fully healed from the divorce. Like we're all good friends now. Like we travel together. Like it's beautiful. Like my girls, I have 3 girls. They're 5, 7, and 9. They're so like well connected because of the healing that was accessible through these mini retreats. And so I put them out there. We had a few retreats in Tulum. And I said, well, I really hate the way we get our continuing education as doctors. Like I hate conference rooms. I hate it's so nasty. And I was like, what if we did our CEs on a yacht in Greece? Or what if we did them on a surfing retreat in Costa Rica? So I started like putting all of these continuing education retreats together, so we can travel as a business write-off, and then be able to get our CEs, but also heal the healer while we're there.
Oh my goodness,
and then it turned into an entire platform where anybody with a following, we built a system that they add retreats to their business model.
Wow.
And so these entrepreneurs they're traveling the world. We're curating and making everything happen. They're making money. They're traveling. They're teaching their calling.
I love it.
We're opening up a whole new realm for practitioners to step into.
Wow. There is so much administration and groundwork and planning that goes into retreats. I've hosted them before, and I know the hard work that it goes into.
So we just take that off your plate, and then you just show up with your people. It's so nice.
And then you're living expansively and in the flow and enjoying the process.
And then you get to dance with other people's dreams and make them happen, and like kind of sit and curate with them and say, all right, cool, let's make that happen.
Wow.
So it's fun.
Oh, I love the way you express, the way that you talk and communicate. It is so beautiful, and it just like allows that resonance. I'm sure everyone that is listening to this episode is already getting their hearts tugged and pulled into this sense of like, how can I get involved? How can I live this expansively, live for these moments and these experiences?
Yeah, you live for moments. Yes. Like it really is like the most important thing. Is I took my daughter on a trip this past weekend, and there was a moment where we took a speedboat out in the Bahamas to go swim with the pigs. And there was a moment she was so nervous to get on the boat. I said, no, baby, come on, it'll be okay. Halfway through that boat ride, she is like living her best life. And I was like, this is the moment. Yes. Like this is the moment. Yeah.
And she's taken the courage and the confidence. And now she's like, okay, I know that this is what life is.
Yeah. That's why we love travel.
Wow. And you know, how many people live for planning moments like that eventually down the road in the future?
When I retire,
like that. It's on my bucket list. You know, it just like kicks that can down the road so far. Yeah. But it's so sad how it's like so many opportunities are missed for these moments. And every day, every single year, they could start experiencing these with their family, like growing up. And it makes it so doable. Like the way that you're creating this is easy
to be able to travel as a business write-off, you know, like with your family. I love that. So it was like really important to say, you know what, how do we make this accessible? Because I know how incredible this is. I just wanted everybody to experience it.
Yes. Wow, the mindset of children getting to experience this, like their brains are growing so quickly. Neuroplastically, they're connecting so many neurons, and it's like the possibilities of what they realize when they're young allows them to just think without limitations in the future for their own life. So like imagining how what your girls are experiencing and how they're getting this opportunity to see that the world is literally limitless. The world is their pool. They can just experience whatever they want to.
It's their playground.
Yes, spin the globe, say, this is how we do it. And that's so simplified and easy. Now, for that mindfulness, what are some of those things that you've seen them incorporating into even their school learning and how they're taking on certain classes or choosing their subjects expansively and with excitement and joy because they have gotten to see the cultures of other lands and
absolutely. I think it's so important. I think travel is the best gift we can give to our children, and being able to share the world with them. And I think that I think in chiropractic, we always say like stand on the shoulders of giants. Like your children should stand on where you are in life and you elevate them up to where they can go to infinite possibilities. So for my girls, I give them a travel atlas, and they get a 101 trip every year because I'm a single mom. That's amazing. And so it's 3-on-1 all the time, like zone defense. It is crazy. And so I say, I really want, and I crave that 101 time with them. And so I say, here's your atlas. You plan the trip and we'll make it happen. And so it's very sweet to watch them kind of go through the atlas and be like, okay, Capri saw swimming with the pigs. And she was like, I am sold. And it's a sweet time, but it also teaches them about the world, about different cultures, about how to travel and navigate and move through the world. And then my ex-husband and his wife, they're world travelers as well. And so they kind of get that from both households. And then speaking to education, we're in a beautiful school that allows them 2 days in school, 2 days homeschool. Yes, good. And so there's a collaborative model that you're able to have that curiosity of being involved in their education.
I love it. Okay, so this is my list for my future.
I got you.
I love that. That's amazing.
Funny. Yeah.
Wow. And it also opens them up to like the culture and the history of certain locations as well as languages.
Yes.
Languages.
So the ages that are so young. They get exposed to.
Wow. What are some of the other languages that they've dabbled with?
So Spanish, obviously they're in Spanish class. And then The last trip we took was to Greece,
Cool.
and Capri, she had a school project
Yes.
about like the ancient Olympics.
Amazing.
And so my
That'd be
ex actually
so
came
fun
up
to
with the
get-
idea, and he was like, why don't we take them to Olympia? And
Yeah.
so they got to experience that. And so I think even when you're there, they're in Latin in
Yes.
school. And so we like kind of look at the Latin
Mhm.
words
Yes.
and talk about how they transcend to all the different languages.
That's so
So-
brilliant. Oh my gosh. Okay,
That's
so on my bucket list, you've just added like 20 things.
I love it.
It's amazing. So incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, now closer to home,
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about how you have this incredible village that you've created, this community. And
Mhm.
it's so beautiful that you're creating space for so many to come together with like-minded individuals. Pregnancy,
Mhm.
prenatal,
Mhm.
chiropractic, you
Mhm.
do work with pediatrics,
Yep.
you help with so many different angles. So tell us a little bit about your practice.
So I've been in private practice 10 years, and it's been prenatal pediatric chiropractic. And then I just through a serendipity of events was able to take over the entire building, which is a
Wow.
3,000 square foot
That's amazing.
Victorian home.
That's
And I couldn't afford the
incredible.
overhead. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, let's figure this out. And so I brought in all these different practitioners from everything from pelvic floor physical therapy
Nice.
to acupuncture
Yes.
to massage to ozone,
Wow.
IVs,
Yes.
PT, like you name it, we've brought it in. And it's just been this ecosystem of maternal health care for 10
Wow.
years.
Incredible.
And then dove into commercial real estate development this past year. And that has been the Wild West. And I have gotten a full education
Yes.
on what developing real estate is like.
Right.
But also I saw the need that we have for women to
Yes.
develop real estate in the wellness space.
Yes.
Because our number one consumer of healthcare and retail are both women, and
Yes.
all of our spaces are designed by men. I'm sorry. I know there's some female developers out there, and I want to talk to you, but at the
Yes.
same time, like,
Yeah.
where is the beauty? Where are the
Right.
special touches? And
Yes.
everything that we're developing at the Nest Wellness Village is based on the standard of a newborn. So a newborn needs twice as much vitamin D,
Yes.
light, natural light. Their respiratory rate is twice that as much as a normal, like an adult, because of their cerebellum. And so whenever they have that high respiratory rate, they're breathing in double the amount of
Yes.
oxygen. So clean air,
So
clean
crucial.
water, like everything that we're building, materials, things like
Yes.
that are focused on a non-toxic real estate experience for commercial development.
I love this.
Right?
This is so important. Oh my goodness, I've been seeing this need and speaking about this need for so long, and I'm so thrilled that that you're filling this need.
Yeah.
And it's like there's so many, like you said, the toxins, and then it's creating these super biotoxins like mold that's living off of the VOCs and all the fire retardants
Exactly.
and so many things that now that mold is just so exacerbating to our and inflammatory
just
to
our
our
life
systems.
experience.
Yeah, so that's
absolutely.
amazing that
So
you're
I think
creating
it's
this in a new
just
way.
really, and I think whenever you do business, if you do it alone and you have your office space and you're doing it, but what can happen if you come into an ecosystem of like-minded businesses that are all working together in referrals, and that just 10x your business as being able to be a part of the village. So it's a wild journey though. So it's been fun to learn.
This is making me so excited. Okay, so there's so many things that I know are just piquing interest of various people that are the listeners.
Yeah.
So I think we've mentioned several different angles that now anyone that's in the maternity space, maybe they're either in the fertility journey or in pre-pregnancy planning, and then they're pregnant or they've had pregnancies multiple and they want to know how to have the healthiest versions or raise their babies in the healthiest ways. So what are some of your clinical pearls, the gems of life, and just what have you been inspired by?
So it's exciting. I just wrote a book, and it's coming out this Friday. And it's really interesting because I took the concept of blue zones from around the world. So we love travel. I love blue zones. If you don't know what a blue zone is, it is where they've studied these 5 regions around the world where people live to be 100-year plus, and they have the highest concentration of centenarians. And so I said, what are we doing in these longevity hotspots and daily rhythms in daily life.
Right.
And what if we took those principles and applied them into pregnancy and designed a roadmap to human flourishing from the womb? Because that's where all of our DNA connections, all of our long-term health, they're showing it starts in utero.
Wow.
And so whenever you start to abide by these principles that are so simple, health is so simple when you get down to the basics of it and you apply them to pregnancy. Even infertility and fertility and infant loss and all these things that we deal with on a daily basis, where we look at just the back to simplicity of what are these blue zones doing and how do we apply them to our daily rhythms in pregnancy, postpartum, and into motherhood for that innate based motherhood experience. So that will be available this Friday.
So excited.
Hopefully. That is it's on Amazon. So
wow. Okay. That's incredible, because that is so important that we're bringing in this awareness and this knowledge and knowing that we can own how we create this here. We create our own little blue zone bubble.
Exactly.
You know, in our own ecosystem, in our own environments.
Yes.
And we can control this just with empowerment and knowledge.
Exactly.
Where does mindfulness come into this? Because with so many pregnancy cases, I think there's a lot of like fear and anxiety and uncertainty about this journey, especially around like the birthing story and what that's going to look like. And they hope for certain things, and then sometimes they're not feeling empowered whenever they actually get to it, especially if they're trying to deliver in a hospital rather than maybe at a birthing center or at home. So mindfulness is such an important component to pregnancy. What are some of those things that you could share with our listeners around mindfulness and just how important that is?
Huge. Mindfulness is everything. There's even a chapter in the book that's the neurology of birth and like how we train our amygdala to actually respond to external stimuli whenever we're in that fear or external stress. But I think mindfulness boils down to where is your mind on a daily basis? And how do you curate the environments that your mind is in to allow that trust in your body? And so if your mind is on social media, or if your mind is in a book, or if your mind is at work, or if your mind is on TV, what are you scrolling on social media? Is it empowering? Is it building trust? Is it programming your subconscious to actually, like whenever I was pregnant, I curated my entire social media to positive birth stories and home birth stories and all of these things that I was like, oh my gosh, this is possible. And so it's curating your environment to, it's not just sitting and meditating and like pushing your baby out like in your mind 100 times. Like they think of mindfulness as something that's like unattainable. Like no, it's like, where is your mind on a daily basis and how do you curate that environment that your mind is living in from the external sources?
I love that. That is so empowering. And it truly does actually change our reality. You mentioned the quantum physics of reality and the shifts that we can create. Like the energetics are so powerful, and it's in our fields, it's in our frequencies. And that actually makes me think about, you know, parenting. I'm not a parent myself yet, but it is important. Like our fields are communicating to our babies, and even infants are communicating back with their fields. And just there's so much perception that clairsentience is so powerful as children.
Oh, it's so unreal. And I read something the other day, was like babies think that they are still a part of their mother until age 5. Like they just still neurologically believe like that's I'm one with my mother, you know, like it's just super interesting. And then you get into the mycochimerism, where the cells from your baby live on in your neurology in your body forever. Like they did cadaver studies and they saw infant like cells from the stem cells in the mother's brain. And fun fact is, if there's ever like an injury during pregnancy, the baby will send stem cells through the umbilical cord to the bloodstream for mother's healing.
Help her heal. That's
so and I love like if you want to like really believe in something greater than us, just study pregnancy.
Absolutely.
It is unreal. We create a whole organ within an organ, which is our placenta and our uterus. You know, like I can nerd on it all day.
Same here. Actually, let's do, because our listeners love the science and love nerding out about this. And you know, like even I had a client in earlier, she's 9 months. pregnant. She's like 2 weeks before our delivery date and
Yeah.
our guest date. And so we were just talking about how important all these different communication signals are. This is our first one, so she's just geeking out about this, nerding out about it. Like, for example, whenever she's breastfeeding the baby is communicating through the saliva to the receptors on the nipples that are now perceiving what nutrients they should put in. And those nutrients are mobilized to her breast milk real time within those few minutes that the baby's breastfeeding to give immune system factors, give an immune boost, or just give the opportunity for the baby to have the right nutrients where it may have a little deficiency in brain tissue or thyroid or whatever.
It's unreal.
So cool.
So beautiful.
What are some of these other receptors and like communication signals and things that happen? Like I know skin to skin contact.
Oh,
that's a huge
absolutely.
one. Like the sweat glands from the baby that's giving sweat to the mom, or basically like now our pores are picking up on that. That communicates if the baby is detoxing out certain types of toxins. And then we'll prep with that next level of breast milk to help with the binding agents that the baby needs to clear those toxins. So it's like mold toxins can get cleared like that. Even heavy metals, I know microplastics can also be communicated through the detox. It's so powerful.
It's amazing. I think my favorite, I think when you study these things and while you're pregnant, it delivers more trust into your body whenever you step into that birth space. But I think one of my favorite ones is that they did a study at UT Southwestern that whenever the lungs are ready to breathe air, the lungs release surfactant like SR1 and SR2 from the baby's lungs into the mother's bloodstream. And that has been shown to trigger contractions in uterus. So literally whenever your baby is ready to breathe oxygen, the baby will say, here's my surfactant, deliver it to the mother. That will start the positive feedback loop of labor and actually sending it in. So it's just like, there really is a beautifully intelligent design, even into how our bodies are made. Like if you look at just our structure and musculoskeletal, the round ligaments, which tether the uterus to the pubic bone, are the only ligaments in the body with smooth muscle tissue component. And so they are the only ligament that can actually stretch, and they stretch 1,000 times their normal size from
that's incredible
preconception to baby. So it's just like when you start to fall in love with like the design of pregnancy and the beauty of it, like you naturally start to say, wow, like we were beautifully designed to do this. Like
exactly.
It's meant to be.
And owning that power and that capacity without fear whatsoever, doubt. That is so important. And so empowering for the mother to get to know that and feel that before she goes in. And then after she starts the labor, just staying in that knowing and trust. And tell us a little bit about what that's like to really be in that space, because it's like another world. Like you'll just join your own little realm and everything else is blocked out. You're just so in tune with your baby. And like I've been able to assist with quite a few births, so I know about this process from everyone else. But I'm sure you can also share from your perspective, like what is that like to be able to be just in this beautiful rhythm with the baby, with the contractions, just knowing that your body has it, so you don't even have to mindfully do anything. You just are being. And whenever there is that release into that fluidity and that flow, then that's where that peace is occurring. So
it's really interesting. Every time I talk about pregnancy, I say there's a physical, mental, and spiritual birth that you can have. And I've been able to have all three. Like my first birth, like I was a CrossFitter and like a college athlete. Like, so my first birth, I looked at it as like a physical event.
Marathon.
Exactly. It was like, this is my AMRAP. Like I'm going to work for 30 seconds. I'm going to rest for 2 minutes. Like, and that's how I got through birth. And that was like my physical birth. And so, and it was like, I came time to push, I heard push and I pushed the baby out and ripped to a 3rd-degree tear. And I was like, okay, well, let's talk about our second birth, which is a mental birth. Where I said, you know what? I'm going to educate myself on all the stages of labor. I'm going to educate myself on the fetal ejection reflex, like everything that there is to learn about birth. I learned
Yes.
it. And so I had this like mental birth. And so I had a great second water birth at home and just like pushed her out. It was great. Like it was just like, okay, I did this. And then for my third birth, I had that spiritual birth that put me into that phase. And I started reading and listening to podcasts where so many midwives will say right before a baby's about to enter this realm, there's a shift and change in color and smell and energy. Like nobody could really put like a tangible like words to it. But I will tell you, I felt that. And it was in that moment that I was going through labor and my last birth was an hour long, start to finish. And I actually delivered her on my own, unassisted. Nobody made it. And she was a 10-pound baby, like came out. Like it was wild. It was a wild birth. But at the same time, I remember standing in my living room and feeling that immediate gravity of a soul is about to enter this world. And I felt time stand still. And I felt like this dance of this baby starting to come out. And then like screaming birth is primal. Like you're gonna scream and you're gonna like become like a warrior. Like I love like the orgasmic birth and things like that. That's just not me. I'm a feeler. And so I felt that and I felt the head and I was like, oh my gosh. And like a baby was born. So it's just like there's definitely that mindset whenever you're kind of walking through of like, where are you? How have you curated that physical, mental, or spiritual? And what's the experience that you want? And you are in complete control of that. If you want a C-section, that's where you want your baby to come in, have the C-section. If you want to have that baby at home, free birth, have your free birth. You know, like it's getting to your truth of what you want because there's no wrong way because you are the mother and you have that truth of what you want. You just have to access it.
I love that. That is so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Just hearing you talk about this, wow, that touches me so deeply.
It's beautiful.
And there's such a component too of you listening to that little spirit, that other being. And you're so connected already throughout the entire pregnancy. So you know their soul. And then whenever you're like actually really in tune and listening, then you're in that rhythm with them. And and there's the primitive reflexes are in place to help them with this
the gallant reflex. Whenever the uterus squeezes, it's like the gallant reflex actually shifts them over to that left anterior occiput. It's wild. Like it is. I could talk about this all day. It's wild.
It's so cool. So they're like crawling themselves out, like army crawling. They're moving out.
Exactly.
And that's in that rhythm. And as long as the mother is really just listening to only that rhythm of listening to the baby, listening to her body's responding. There is that beautiful dance.
And that's why chiropractic is so important because we allow that mother to connect through her nervous system. So we also take away that tension or anything inhibiting that baby from shifting or moving or the pelvis opening and baby releasing. Like that's why I love that we get to do this every day in chiropractic care.
Biomechanical
unreal.
Release, that nervous system stimulation. So crucial, such an important component. Well, and it's beyond just birth too, because really this is like every single day, every moment is like a birth. It's like you mentioned actually back at the very beginning of this episode. This is where it is so important that we feel so empowered that every single day, what are we creating? And when our nervous system is aligned and we're able to feel that sensory experience, like that clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance of that, we're in tune.
Absolutely.
We're feeling and expressing fully without those limitations.
It's really beautiful and it's just your choice. And I think we go through rhythms of life. Like I think the end of last year I had so much on my plate that I felt so disconnected to creation. And then once I started like really getting like my wellness routine back in, like getting my physical body ready again, like that's where that creativity started to flow. So it's like the importance of the vessel, you know, like keeping the vessel clear. And so things can flow through you. You know, like I love like keeping that mindset.
Wow. And that's where the inspiration comes in, where the creativity, that empowering type of limitless thoughts about what you can create without just thinking like with our blinders on. There's so many times that we just have multiple veils that we're trying to work through, and that creates stagnancy and you know, just like this way that we're being held back in life.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
time is precious. And we do control time. Like we can make moments draw out to where we appreciate and fully embody those moments, each and every moment. Or we can just try to make it through each day. And it's like, okay, well, that becomes a life and a lifestyle.
Exactly.
And before we know it, we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, where did those months or years go?
Where did they go?
How did they pass so quickly?
Yeah, exactly.
It's own time and
It's
body
really
time
beautiful.
and truly love and embrace it.
Yeah,
Each
exactly.
moment. Dr. Courtney, this was incredible. I am so thankful for this conversation.
Likewise.
And I know we're going to have many more. So
yes.
you'll be back on the Resonant Life podcast soon.
I love it. Thank you so much. It was so good to get to connect and reconnect. And I can't wait to go hang out after this.
And we will make sure that we're including in the show notes all the ways to get in touch with you.
Awesome.
And stay in tune with this amazing community, this village that you created, as well as check out your book. Yay! I'm so excited to read this.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining us at the Resonant Life podcast. We are so glad that you've listened to this episode, and we look forward to you joining us on the next one.
Bye.